Uh, Hi, welcome to this webinar on Introduction to Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. My name is Vivek Singhal. I am a co-founder and chief data scientist at CellStrat. Okay, let me continue here. So just a plug on our startup. We are a Bengaluru and Delhi-based startup working in the areas of artificial intelligence and machine learning. We are working on multiple world-class machine learning solutions for selected industry problems. We produce a lot of original research in machine learning and AI, and that way we are quite unique in Indian context. We are, very research-oriented startup in AI space, and we are considered a thought leaders on social media communities. So that was about our startup. Okay, so let me get to the main content now. So let's understand why AI and what's going on, what has happened in the past. So, I'll use a digital marker pen. So the industrial revolution started in industry 1.0 way back in 1700s. Okay. And we saw advent of steam engines, electrical, chemical manufacturing, and so on. Then we got to industry 2.0 in 1800s, early 1900s, and we got the telephone and radio and got superb communication after World War II as well. And then came the era of Industrial Revolution 3.0, where we had automated supply chains, automation, semiconductor electronics, printed circuit boards, and massive electronic innovation, right? And now we are in Industrial Revolution 4.0, which started, early 2000s. And here we see blurring of lines between physical, digital, and biological spheres. We are planning to supplant, microchips on our human bodies, and which will be on a cognitive, connected Internet of Things network. Everything will be personalized to our taste. All these companies, they have so much data on us that whatever they show us will be highly personalized to our tastes and preferences based on our historical, activity or behavior. All right. So I hope that is clear. Let me set this up. I see a hand raised. Okay. So in interest of time, if you want to ask something, I'm probably going to ask you, put it in the chat window. Although I can unmute you and give you a chance to speak, just to keep it manageable for a very large audience, I will prefer if you kindly ask your question via chat window. All right. So let me continue here. All right. So, why AI and machine learning is becoming so hyped up now. All right. Why so? So somebody asked me about Industry 5.0. So after Industry 4.0, we are talking about Industry 5.0. Sure. So, this is still a bit far away. I mean, Industrial Revolution 4.0 is barely starting. So let's just look at what is happening now. Industrial Revolution 5.0 is probably another decade or 2 decades away. Yeah. So let's focus on what will happen on next 10 to 20 years first, which is Industrial Revolution 4.0. But briefly, in 5.0, we see artificial general intelligence, robots which act and think like humans. So let me just not go there. That's general leadership is very advanced stuff. Let me just focus on current Industrial Revolution 4.0, which is going to happen over next two, 1 to 2 decades at least, if not more. Okay, so why AI and ML is so hot now? See, what has happened is we have seen a proliferation of data. Right? They always say data is the new oil. So companies which are sitting on data are pretty much going to control, most of the global growth, or drive most of the global growth. So there is battle for ownership of data, as well as deriving useful insights or benefits from data. Okay, so there's massive data creation happening. So 180 zettabytes, 180 followed by 21 zeros. If I start writing it, I mean, it will take me some time to even write 21 zeros, right? You can imagine. So this word is awash in data, right? Word is awash in data. As per 2025, as per IDC research company, we are going to see 180 zettabytes of data. So monumental amounts of data beyond our thinking imagination. And so data is driving a lot of these new services, right? And so there is a lot of unstructured data from social media, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, transportation industry, all automotive, cars giving out data and vehicles giving out data, all kinds of sensors, Fitbit devices, industrial sensors. They are all producing data at a breakneck pace. All right. Uh, so let me just change the color of my digital pen to a more acceptable color. Yeah. So data was earlier used by firms like Facebook and Google for targeted advertising. So Google and Facebook have really grown on the back of data, economy, and now data is beginning to power new kinds of personalized or artificial intelligence services, which are also referred to as cognitive services. Some of which are beginning to generate revenue. Okay, and what happens? There's a network effect. Okay, so there is a network effect which happens with data, which is shown in the diagram in between. So network effect. Okay. So what happens that this data is used to attract more users. Google and others can personalize the services more, attract even more users to their platforms. These users generate even more data. So once I use Google, I use Facebook, I'm generating more data for those companies. This helps them improve the services or personalize the services even more. So Google and Amazon and Facebook give us so many personalized, useful applications that we become hooked, very loyal to those companies, and this drives even more user behavior. So there is a data network effect, which happens. So this chart just shows the data proliferation. As you can see, in year 2020, we are looking at 50 zettabytes of data, but in year 2025, they are talking about almost 180 zettabytes. So you can see the acceleration of the data curve, if you will. The data is just continuing to increase and accelerating. So the curve is going like this for data creation, and you can see that here. So the curve is going like this, it's going vertical. I mean, this is actually about companies mentioning in AI, sorry. So, but yes, the data curve also follows this path, and the companies who are talking about AI and data science as a strategic activity is increasing dramatically, right? So this trend continues to accelerate, proliferate. All right. So I hope that is clear. If you have any questions, you can ask me. A question which came is, will you be providing recording sessions for this webinar? Yes, we are recording this webinar, so it will be available on our YouTube channel. We do have fantastic webinars on our YouTube channel, which we have recorded over the last 2 years. And I'll provide you the link at the end of this session. And there's one more question. What is the best reference book for AI and machine learning? So, well, that depends on, if you are looking for technical machine learning books, there are two good books which I like to refer to. Uh, while question is a bit early in this session, but let me send this. So Sebastian Rashka and Aurelian Giron are the author names. So I'm sending to all, you know. So I've sent the two book names to all. These are the two very good authors in machine learning space. So now these are technical machine learning, deep learning books. If you're looking for general AI, general AI books, then I would just request you to look at Amazon. There are lots of good books by top authors on general artificial intelligence. But the two book names I sent, the two author names I sent are for technical machine learning, programming oriented machine learning books. All right. So hope that is good enough for now. Let me continue. So now let's try to get our definitions right. Okay. So we always want to talk about artificial intelligence, right? But what does it mean after all for many of us here who are new to this area? So, AI means simulating human intelligence. So the point is you're simulating human-like intelligence in machines. Okay. So this is as simple as it gets in terms of defining AI. So essentially there are lots of definitions, but I just define in a very simple way. So we are trying to train machines to think and act like humans. Humans are the most intelligent beings on the planet, but we want to develop similar kind of analytical ability or decision making ability within machines. And so there are countless applications of AI. I mean, everywhere we look, we find AI application. Oftentimes it's hidden from us, right? When you go to Facebook is running so many machine learning and deep learning algorithms or AI algorithms on its website for image recognition, text analytics, and people predictive analytics around users. Same with Google searches, same with Amazon web page. Amazon shows you products based on lots of AI intelligence, all right? And now we are beginning to see robots in companies, in our homes, home automation, industrial automation. You're familiar with chatbot like Apple Siri or Amazon Alexa, which some of you might have tried. And then, text analysis. Amazon is always checking a user feedback on their products and doing all kind of text analytics, data mining to find useful insights. For example, company performance balance sheets or self-driving cars, which is a new phenomena coming up. They are training cars to drive without a driver. AI in retail, gaming. So the applications are quite countless. So I can go on and on, but I'll just so you can see some of those apps listed there, and you might have been exposed to some of these at some point. Okay, let me continue here. So now the question is, that was AI. Now let's try to define machine learning, which is also a very important term here. So machine learning is a field of artificial intelligence. It's a branch or a field of AI. Okay, and what happens here is the machines learn, by observing current data. So here the role of data is critical. So as I said, AI is driven by data proliferation. Because the word is awash in data, we can train machines and by help of machine learning. Okay. In machine learning, what happens that we build algorithms that allow computers to learn to perform tasks as opposed to being explicitly programmed. Okay. Machine learning is the set of techniques which makes machines intelligent. So ML is a branch of AI. ML refers to set of techniques or set of algorithms which are used to train artificial intelligence. Okay. So in that sense, ML makes machines intelligent. For example, a driverless car. How will you train a driverless car? You feed lot of driving conditions, and the system of the driverless car will learn how to drive without hitting other people, other cars, as well as following road signs, right? So using historical driving data, I can train a driverless car. So this is so the set of algorithms which are which are used for training a driverless car are what we call as machine learning. Okay, and that is how an AI system like a driverless car gets trained with help of machine learning techniques. Okay. Okay, so what has happened in recent few years that machine learning is being innovated further, and some of the scientific advances by some top research scientists and computer science professors has have led to advent of this area called deep learning. We also use the word artificial neural networks. So this structure refers to what we call as ANN. Okay, the term we use is ANN, and it is a short for artificial neural network. Now it so happens that this structure is very similar to a neural network of the human brain. Okay, let me just so deep learning is referring to a specialized form of machine learning, and it uses networks of interconnected computation units called neurons. So these structures are called neurons, these circular structures. And it so happens that these neurons are modeled on the concept of neural networks of the human brain. So even human brain, it has some structures called neurons, biological units, and these ANNs are modeled exactly on the human brain neural network. There is a big analogy there, okay? And deep learning is useful for complex applications. So when we use neural networks, the set of machine learning algorithms which use neural networks are collectively referred to as the area of deep learning. And deep learning is useful for complex applications like image processing or speech recognition. So more sophisticated applications such as image processing, speech recognition, even driverless cars, or video games, or stock market trading, these applications require more sophisticated machine learning, and that is usually done with deep learning neural networks. All right. So what is happening in this kind of neural network? So, each of these represents a computation unit. Okay, each circle represents a computation unit, and what I call this scheme a divide and conquer mechanism. So instead of just having one computation unit, I have so many computation units which are connected to each other, and the signal is flowing from bottom to top, right? That's how the data signal is flowing. So for this kind of image processing, use case, what is happening is it takes the pixels of this image. Those of you who are familiar with graphic design, what is an image? Image is a set of pixels, right? And each pixel has an RGB, red, green, and blue color value. So those of you who know graphic design probably understand this. So we break each of these pixels out. This is one pixel, this is second pixel, this is third pixel. Each of these represents a tiny pixel on this image, okay, and so on. So I take out these pixels and I feed it into the first hidden layer of neurons. And these first hidden layer detects the edges between between things. So it might detect this edge, this edge, this edge, the nose, the eye, in the head. So these edges are being detected at the first hidden layer. The second hidden layer concatenates these edges to find contours. All right. So for example, the second hidden layer might detect that there is a corner here, right? There is a corner here, right? Or there is a corner here, right? Or there is a corner here, right? Or there is a corner here. So the second hidden layer detects corners and contours. The third hidden layer detects full parts. So it might detect the head, the eye, the nose, right? The mouth, and the neck. So the third hidden layer concatenates corners and contours to detect complete object parts. The final output layer of neural network finally puts together all the object parts from the previous layer and identifies whether the person, this image has a car, person, or an animal. So this is what I'm showing you is very advanced stuff, because this is what has happened in recent times with artificial intelligence innovation, and it is driving incredible applications, in image processing. So when you tag your friends in a Facebook photo, so Facebook is using image processing deep learning to understand that this person means, let's say, Mr. Samir Mathur, the name of the person. Since you tag that person as Samir Mathur, your friend, and next time when Facebook sees that image, it will suggest you, is this Samir Mathur? And you can simply say yes, and you just validated the Facebook suspicion because it has already learned the image of that person or the face of that person. All right. So I hope that is clear. Let me see if there are any questions. So will we get PPT as well separately? Yeah, unfortunately not. This is our intellectual property. The video will be available on our recorded on our YouTube channel. You can keep seeing the video a number of times. And how many neurons would be required to train? So fair question. So that's how many neurons are needed in the structure. So that's a subjective question which the data scientist has to answer. So experienced data scientists know how many hidden layers and how many neurons in each layer have to be modeled. All right, there is no specific formula. Internal neuron information can be got out. See, I don't understand what is meant by that question. Kindly clarify. So output has to be 3 neurons depending on the initial inputs. See, as I said, the number of neurons and number of layers in neural network are a subjective decision taken by the data scientist based on their experience. Okay, so there is no specific formula for number of neurons and number of neural layers. Okay, let me just continue here. So we discussed we try to define three major technologies: AI, machine learning, ML, and deep learning, DL, right? And the relationship between the three, so machine learning is a branch of overall overarching field which is called AI. So AI is about training machines to think and act intelligently, right? Or simulating human intelligence, if you will. Machine learning refers to the set of techniques which trains machines to become intelligent. So machine learning is considered a branch of AI, and deep learning is nothing but a set of specialized machine learning algorithms. So deep learning is also machine learning, but it's more specialized machine learning for more advanced breakthrough innovative applications in image, text, speech, etc. Okay. All right. So one question which has come is, if the root cause analysis of final output has to be found for final result. Well, so I didn't understand the question, but if you are saying, let's say I am trying to classify an image, right? So I'm trying to classify if the image has a person, an animal, or a car, right? So my image processing neural network can detect that, or can be trained to detect that, right? And we can always validate the output of a machine learning model and against real data and see if it is predicting accurately, right? So can you please give an example of AI which does not involve ML and an example of ML which does not involve DL? Well, house price regression, easy enough. So I am showing you, let's say there is a city of Bangalore, right? Let's look at city of Bangalore. So city of Bangalore house investing in real estate is a good investment in general, right? Most of us agree probably on that front. So now we are trying to figure out how the house prices will increase over next 5 years, right? Year one, year two, year three, year four, year five. So we want to predict house prices. But how about we take previous 5 years and we try to find the increase in the price based on variety of factors. So on the x-axis, I will model the input features. On the y-axis, I will model the price of the house. So remember, I am trying to train a model to predict future house prices. For this, I need historical house price data. So this chart is modeling historical house price data. And what does the input X represent? It could represent the age of the house, right? Age of apartments or villas, if you will. It could represent the size of the house, right? So the input features could be n number of input features. It could also represent distance from, city center, right? Or the crime rate in that area of Bangalore, right? So all these features represent what we call as input features or the X values, which determine the price of the house. What is Y? Y is simply equal to the price of the house, right? That is my output variable. So X is called input variable or independent variable. Y is called the output variable or dependent variable, right? I can train a model using classic machine learning, which can do a line fit. Once I find the line, then let's say a new house is being built, I can check its input features, and using this line equation, I can pretty much pinpoint the corresponding Y or the corresponding price of the house, right? So this is classic machine learning. It's not using deep learning. And so deep learning obviously is a subset of machine learning, but I gave you an example of house price, prediction, which is using classic machine learning, but not deep learning. All right. Somebody asked me that. An example of artificial intelligence which does not use machine learning. See, machine learning is refers to all the set of techniques by which we train AI. So as such, any AI you have to train, you will have to train with ML. So in that sense, I can't think of any AI which will not trained with ML, right? Maybe maybe a robot, right? A robot which is rules based. So a rules based robot which was hard coded with certain rules how the robot should behave. So it can be called an example of AI which is not using machine learning. So there you go. That's your example then. Okay. So a robot which can be counted as artificial intelligence, but it's actually then not intelligent. If I hard code the rules of operation of the robot, then it's no longer considered to be intelligent. So really, I can't think of any true AI application which has not been trained with machine learning. Okay, so I'll have to think more about that. Any other questions? Okay, there is something more which came up. As novice to the subject, what suggested path to start, how to build on? Fair enough. So I'll be discussing a career in artificial intelligence and machine learning at the end of this, if you kindly be patient. So once I reach the last part of this session is about careers in AI and machine learning. Okay, that is exactly what I'll discuss. Kindly hold that thought. How to get in AI as a career. In classic machine learning, only one feature is selected or all of them together. So how do you plot all the features together in x-axis? Fair question. So it's kind of getting very technical, you know, but suffix it to say that it's getting a technical. Suffix it to say that while there can be multiple input features, I showed you 4 input features for house price prediction. I can also have n number of dimensions, right? So this is a 3D plot. So there are 2 input features x1 and x2 and 1 output feature y. By the way, more, I can have as many input features, as many dimensions as you want. Okay. So if there are 4 input features, it would be a 5-dimensional plot. While I cannot show it in a legible way on a pen and paper here, we have to just imagine it. Just like a 3-dimensional plot works, you can extend it to hundreds of dimensions, thousands of dimensions. So here I am showing you a 5-dimensional plot. So there are 4 input features: age of the house, size of the house, the distance from city center, the crime rate in the area, right? And y is the price of the house. So there are 4 input dimensions, 4 input features, and 1 output feature y, which tells me the price of the house. So we have to model a relationship between the 4 input features and output feature y, right? So that this is an n-dimensional problem there. So yes, you can't show it legibly on a piece of paper, but this is how it works. So the dimensions can be n number. You have to just imagine them and extrapolate the idea around 2 or 3 dimensions to 4, 5, 7, 8, 10 dimensions. Yeah. Okay. So what about Alan Turing test? So Alan Turing was a scientist. If you have all seen the movie Imitation Game from Hollywood, so he was a scientist which was working with the Allied forces, UK forces against German army, and so there is a Turing test which is also shown in the movie called Ex Machina from Hollywood. So the Turing test says, can you detect a human from a robot? If the robot looks like a human perfectly, can you make out if it is a robot or a human? So that's a Turing test, which is a very interesting and sort of has been well tested test for detecting humans from robots. Okay, and all right, can we do programming with MATLAB for deep learning? Out of MATLAB and Python, which is better? See, MATLAB has been successfully used for machine learning. Okay, MATLAB is one of the libraries, which is available for machine learning for those of you who are programmers. But I'm not sure if MATLAB can be used for deep learning. But definitely MATLAB has been used for machine learning. I don't know MATLAB, so I cannot speak to it. I use Python and TensorFlow for machine learning and deep learning. TensorFlow is my chosen deep learning library. Okay. ML and DL need to learn sequence or can be learned in any sequence. See, you have to learn machine learning before you can go to deep learning. You cannot go to, you cannot learn deep learning unless you have expertise or you are trained in machine learning. So machine learning is the prerequisite to deep learning. Okay, so machine learning itself requires a prerequisite that you should have some kind of mathematical skills from high school days at least, or if you are going to be a technical data scientist, you have to have programming and so on. So machine learning requires those kind of prerequisites. You can be functional data scientist, need not be developer. So, but if you want to be technical data scientist, you have to be developer of some kind of programming language. And also you should have studied maths till high school days. So you have to refresh some of basic maths. Okay. Is there any tool for this kind of analysis? Well, there are a lot of tools, like Python has some tools, right? And TensorFlow is a tool for this kind of analysis. We can also do it, some of it in Microsoft Excel. But Microsoft Excel and spreadsheets can only do so much. So that's why now we have to do Python-based machine learning. Okay. Uh, in the house price regression model, if you want to deploy deep learning, how will approach to price prediction change? So if I am trying to bring deep learning, see, deep learning is nothing but more advanced form of machine learning. Certainly, if something can be done with machine learning, it can also be done with deep learning, right? Deep learning is a more specialized form of it. Any preferable IDE? So I prefer something called PyCharm for Python programming, and we also use something called Jupyter Notebook. So if you attend our machine learning course, we use Jupyter Notebook and PyCharm there for our programming tutorials. Okay. But there are many IDEs. There is also Eclipse plugin for Python, and there are other IDEs like Atom or Spider you can use. Okay. Yeah, so setting up Python machine learning environment in IDE is a bit challenging, yes. So we have a course. You see, my company runs machine learning certification programs. I teach them personally online. So there we help you with all of that stuff, how to set up machine learning on your computer. Okay. What's the best IDE and industry accepted? Jupyter Notebook happens to be the most popular IDE. Okay. So basically, deep learning increases efficiency instead of classic ML. Yes, deep learning increases my accuracy. I can do image processing with classic machine learning, but my accuracy rates on the trained model will not be as good as with deep learning. Okay, so deep learning definitely improves my accuracy rate compared to classic machine learning. Okay, so in interest of time, let me go on. I'll come back to questions later. I can see already so many questions are coming in. Fair enough, which is great. So, but in interest of time, I have to keep moving. Otherwise, I'll miss my end time. So let's understand the difference between traditional data analytics and machine learning. Okay. So in the old world, in traditional data analytics days, we are given a problem statement, right? A requirement specification, a product specification, and the development team will code the program, right, according to the specification. And then the quality control team, or what quality assurance team as we call them, will test the coded program against test data set, right, against test data and test cases, right? So the bug sheet, if you will. And if QA passes the program is deployed in production. If QA says the program is not functioning as per the requirement specs, it is sent back for review and correction, right? So the QA will send back the program to the development team if they find the program has errors. It's not satisfying the test use cases, right? Now, how is it different from machine learning? So let's see on the next slide. So the process looks remarkably similar for machine learning. However, notice something. Here the developer is not hard coding the rules. All right. Developer is not hard coding the rules. Rest of the diagram looks similar, but this part changes. Here I am training an ML model, the relationship between X and Y, by passing a lot of historical data, right? So I'm trying to find the relationship between X and Y, right? By looking at historical data. So in traditional data analytics, I would have to know this equation beforehand and hard code it. In machine learning, it discovers that it learns this equation. So again, I'll repeat it. In traditional analytics or traditional programming, the programmer has to hard code this equation in the program, or the relationship between input X and output Y. Whereas in machine learning, this relation is discovered by the process of machine learning training. So this equation could be something like, let's say, W1 X1, right, plus W2 X2, right? So this is just one example of, let's say there are two input features, X1, age of the house, X2, the size of the house, and Y is the price of the house. So when I say I'm training a machine learning model, what I'm actually trying to do is find ideal values for weight W and weight W2, right? If you remember from your high school algebra days, there was an equation of something of this kind, Y is equal to mx plus b. It is the exact same concept here. So m was the slope of the curve, right? M was the slope of the curve, and b was the bias value, right? So b was the distance between offset from origin. This was b, and m was simply the slope of this curve, right? So this was we had in our high school algebra days. Y is equal to mx plus b. So here also, instead of the letter m, I'm using the letter w, and I'm saying x1 feature has weight w1, x2 feature has weight w2. So when I say I'm training a machine learning model, I'm trying to learn the ideal values of weight w1 and w2. Once I have found, once the machine learning model finds ideal values of weight w1 and w2, then the model is said to be fully trained, and I can send it for testing, right? So I can send it for testing once the weights have been discovered in the equation, and then we will test it using test data set. So we trained it See, remember, this was training data set. Now I will test it on some other data set on which it was not trained on, and we call it test data set. If it passes the test, then I'll put this model in production for future inference. So once I have a trained model which is testing correctly, it can be used to predict future house prices when new houses get built, right? Because now I already know the nature of the equation. The equation could be something like, let's say, y is equal to 3 of x1 plus 5 of x2, right? This could be the equation it learned. So the weight W1 is found to be 3, the weight W2 is found to be 5. And I can, once this passes my test data set, it predicts correctly for my test data. I put it in production, and then it can be used to predict output Y for any new input X1 and X2 which comes along. For example, a new house which gets built, right? I can use this equation to predict its house price, right? So this is how machine learning works. And the difference is, it is a model is being trained using using historical house price data, right? I'm feeding historical data into my machine learning training process. Clear? So basically, deep learning increases efficiency, that I already answered. Does Python support for transfer function? So kindly specify what do you mean by transfer function. We have a concept of transfer learning in machine learning, but you may be referring to something else. And how can house pricing problem be solved using traditional practice? See, you can solve some of this in Microsoft Excel. So for most basic analytics, you can use spreadsheets. Okay. So some of these functions are available off the bat in spreadsheet applications like Microsoft Excel, okay, or Google Spreadsheets. However, as soon as the data sets start getting complicated, when you want more sophisticated application, Excel doesn't work. That's when you need Python machine learning. So we bring in Python machine learning, or based on R or Java, you can do machine learning using Python, using R language, using Java, using C, C++. So it's not like you are limited to machine learning only in Python. Many languages have machine learning libraries. And if Excel cannot do some tasks, then we have to bring in the firepower of Python and machine learning. Okay. But some of the most basic stuff like house price regression could indeed be achieved via Microsoft Excel or spreadsheet applications as well. Okay, let me continue. Okay, so this is a use case we are showing here, that so this is a bank called HDFC in India, as some of you are familiar. So earlier, when Industrial Revolution 3.0 came, so the banking guys gave us mobile banking and web banking, right? You didn't have to visit a bank branch. You could do stuff using mobile app of the bank or the website of the bank, right? And now this HDFC bank is deploying these kind of robots in their branches. So this is a robot deployed in one of the Mumbai branches of HDFC Bank, and it can do face recognition. So it can authenticate customers who walk into the bank branch and check their credential that this is a valid bank user. And it will say, hello, Mr. Agarwal, how are you? Welcome to SDFC today. How can I help you? So he has already authenticated this is some so-and-so Agarwal person, right? And then Mr. Agarwal might ask, kindly tell me my bank balance. So, so the robot will show the bank balance on the screen shown here. It will connect with the backend banking financial system. It will pull up the bank balance of Mr. Agarwal, and so on. So these kind of robotic applications are coming in hotel concierge, in banking front desk, and so on, right? So lots of interesting stuff is coming up as we move forward. So we have also seen, way back in 1997, IBM Deep Blue computer was able to beat the world chess champion at the time, the Russian guy called Gary Kasparov. And Gary Kasparov became so emotional about being beaten by a computer that he actually has become a big researcher of artificial intelligence. And one of the good books on artificial intelligence overall has been written by the former chess grandmaster Gary Kasparov. So you can find it, Gary Kasparov's book, on Amazon, and he wrote one of the popular books on artificial intelligence, and he became pretty emotional about this concept that he was beaten by an IBM supercomputer, right? Because chess is a difficult game to master. And there is this game called Go. This game Go is not popular in India, but it is quite popular in countries like China and Korea. So it is said that this game, the game of Go, has nearly infinite moves. So it is significantly more complex than even chess. It's very hard to master this game. It takes a lot of practice and intelligence to master this game. Recently, in last few years, IBM DeepMind computer, which was called AlphaGo, it beat the global human Go champion, whose name was KG of China, and also the Korean champion, Lee Sedol. So now, so they were able to train. Google was able to train a computer, a machine learning AI computer called DeepMind, and it was called AlphaGo, which was able to beat the human Go champions. All right. So these applications are coming up in all sorts of areas. Okay, let me continue. So this is just a list of some of the applications which we see can be done with artificial intelligence. Okay, and we already discussed image processing, image tagging in Facebook. You can use it for optical character recognition. Reading, written and typed language, right? Self-driving cars, right? So it has to detect what is in front. So it falls under image is one of the requirements in self-driving car because it has to read the road signs. It has to detect pedestrians and other cars on its proximity. Text analytics, for filtering spam from emails and text. Sentiment analysis and user reviews on movies and Amazon website. Extracting useful information, for example, for banking, and then data mining, checking anomalies, who is a criminal, who is not, checking association in e-commerce, grouping clusters, right? And then predictions on all kinds of stuff. So these are just some sample applications in healthcare, in cardiology or oncology, or launching new drugs by drug companies, diagnosing radiology images for bone scan and cancer scans and so on, right? And then reinforcement learning is a technique used in video games, and then robotics for home automation as well as industrial. So these are just some sample applications. I mean, the list is quite endless. Let me just continue here. So you can see here that these are some of the hottest AI technologies, natural language generation, where it can generate human-like language, speech recognition. If you're familiar with the Alexa chatbot or a Siri chatbot in Apple iPhone, right? Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, or Apple Siri, they are example of speech recognition. Virtual agents for customer service and so on, right? And then different machine learning platforms from Amazon, Google, IBM, Watson, and all that. AI optimized hardware. One of the reasons why AI is taking off is companies like Nvidia, which make these graphical processing units, these hardware chips which are able to handle millions of computations. Because training machine learning requires very intensive, powerful semiconductor chips, and regular CPU had a tough time doing it. So GPUs or graphic processing units from companies like AMD and Nvidia are better at it. All right. So decision management systems, deep learning platforms, biometrics, like Indian Aadhaar system. I assume, I am not exposed to it, but I assume Indian Aadhaar, the UPI authority is using fairly, good amount of deep learning and machine learning to do biometric identification. Robotic process automation, right? RPA, some of us are exposed to text analytics, right? And natural language processing. So these are some of the latest technologies which in AI we see percolating and being used for creating lots of innovative applications. So I think we are already familiar with this. If you have an Apple iPhone, you would have tried Apple Siri, and it will ask you what can I help you with. You can ask questions, you can ask for directions and so on. Right? Microsoft has a Cortana, Google has Assistant, Amazon has Alexa layer, which is deployed through its Echo hardware chatbot. IBM its Watson platform. These are some of the things which we see now entering household usage on a daily basis. Okay, let me just continue. So it has become relatively easy to develop AI applications in recent years. Why? Because companies like Google, Apache Foundation, the open source, group, IBM Watson, Amazon OpenAI. So these companies or groups have given us, high-level APIs to develop machine learning programs. So it has become relatively easy. And before these APIs came around, you could do machine learning coding in Python or Java or C++, but We had to do very low level coding, the systems level programming in some cases. With these APIs, you can do high level coding, and the APIs they offer will encapsulate a lot of the algorithm. So you won't have to worry about low level algorithmic coding. Okay. So they are trying to make it easy for us to develop machine learning programs. So now I come to my final part for today, which is of interest to a lot of people here, that a career in AI, machine learning, and data science. So I'll discuss how to get into AI and machine learning as a career. So let me quickly just see what questions have come so far. Okay. Any syllabus for machine learning certification? Yeah, that we'll discuss in this upcoming session, the next 10 minutes. Okay. How can I explain AI to a 5-year-old? Off-topic question. Fair enough. So how can I explain AI to a 5-year-old? Actually, it's a very good question. It's not at all off topic. So see, AI is about training human-like behavior in systems or robots. So when you're talking to your 5-year-old or your infant child or young child, so in fact, the youngsters are better at grasping this stuff. I was teaching Python machine learning to a group of youngsters. There were about 7, 8, high school kids. And they picked it up just like that. They learned Python, and I was doing regression machine learning with a bunch of high schoolers. So their ability to absorb some of these technologies is amazing, and I was amazed. Even adults find it more challenging at times. So AI for a 5-year-old is, it is about training human-like intelligence in a robot. So it's as simple as that. AI and GPU is only used for graphical problems? Not at all. Not at all. So when I say a graphic processing unit or GPUs are used in AI, it's not just for graphical problem. See, GPUs were designed for graphics, right? That's why the term graphic processing unit. However, now they are used for regular computation, which are where millions of computation which AI requires. Okay, so not at all just for graphics problem. I am a first year student at BMISIT. How can I get some internships in the field of AI? And so this is career question. Let me come to that in the topic which is coming up. In the industry, what is the typical natural maturity path in terms of AI ML adoption for an organization? Fair enough. So I think AI and ML is fairly new, particularly in a country like India. So we are seeing only limited applications so far in India, particularly. However, if you use Flipkart website or Amazon website for e-commerce, it is already using heavily AI. Okay, if you use Facebook, you use Google search, they are using AI heavily. But beyond the large companies, yes, some of the small and mid-tier companies in India are yet to pick up a lot of this stuff. So it is quite new. We see more adoption in some of the Western countries, right? But even there, mostly it's new. It just came in a year or two. It's not like it has been there for the last 10 years. Okay. What is TPU? So TPU refers to Tensor Processing Unit. It is a new kind of semiconductor chip which Google is creating because Google did not want to depend on GPUs. GPUs are produced by companies like Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA. So Google is trying to create its own semiconductor chips, and they are calling them TPUs or Tensor Processing Units. Okay, so that is one more kind of advanced semiconductor chip being used for machine learning. What are common algorithms which one must know in AI field? Well, there are things like regression, classification, decision trees, support vector machines, artificial neural networks, clustering, convolutional neural networks. So it's a very vast list. Okay, let me come to my next topic. It will help answer a lot of these questions. Okay, so now we'll discuss about a career in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science. So this slide just shows the availability of data science students and the demand. So you can see the supply of this trained people, trained students is so low. The demand is excruciating because there is a steep learning curve also. The area is very new for most of us, number one. And number two, uh, you know, uh, it takes a long time to train a machine learning data scientist. It's not easy. It is much more difficult than learning Java, web development, digital marketing, project management. Machine learning is quite difficult compared to learning those areas. It takes much longer and a lot more, intelligence and hard work to learn machine learning. That's why the gap continues to accelerate. So the salaries in this area are extremely lucrative. If you are really an expert in machine learning and deep learning, you can try for $1 million or $2 million salary in Silicon Valley quite easily. It's not a stretch to think. that somebody will pay you $1 million if you are expert in AI and machine learning in Silicon Valley. In cities like Bangalore, we see salaries in the range of 50 lakhs to 1 crore quite easy for folks who are really expert in machine learning, deep learning. But the caveat is really expert. If you say I'm a data scientist and you're not that much expert, then you might get disappointed and you might think the area doesn't have scope. So that's not true. It requires a lot of training and expertise to get to those levels. Multi-crore salaries are also being discussed in a city like Bangalore. Multi-crore salaries for chief data scientists. All right. So what are the skills needed for machine learning and deep learning? An AI data scientist. I'm talking about particularly AI and machine learning. So data science is huge. We also have other areas of data science like big data, Hadoop, and so on. So I'm not going to focus on those. Those have been there for a few years. The latest and greatest in data science is artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. Okay, so that's my focus here. And an AI data scientist requires mathematics, maths and statistics skills at least till high school, machine learning skills, data engineering and visualization, and communication skills. All right. And if you are going to be a technical data scientist, you also have to be developing Python programs or R programs or one of the languages using for machine learning. Okay. So not everybody is a developer. Those of you who are not developer need not worry about programming part. But those of you who can do development or can pick it up again, for you, a technical data science career path is recommended, which will require you to most likely use Python or R. Okay, so if you know Java or C, it will be quite easy to learn Python or R. Because Python is also an object-oriented language, very similar to Java. Okay, what does a data scientist do? Given a question and a bunch of data, a data scientist knows how to use some of these computational tools to slice and dice the data to answer or raise a certain question. So given data, a data scientist knows to derive, useful insights from that data. That's what a data scientist does, right? We continue. So this is a very important slide. It shows the career path. Many of you asked what is the career path in AI and data science area, right? So I have clubbed AI, ML, data science at the top, and I'm showing two tracks. So this is a non-technical track. So this can be taken up by anybody, right? This is a non-technical track. Non-technical track for those who are not developers, right? And this is for developers. So if you can do programming or can learn programming, then the technical path is recommended. But if you can't do programming, then you can still get in AI and machine learning as a functional data scientist or an AI consultant or an AI solution specialist, right? And even sales and marketing folks can be trained to become an AI consultant. Okay, we can train solution consultants, we can train product or program managers, we can train QA, tech marketing, even HR. You know, any other function which is not a developer can be trained to become an AI specialist. Okay, but those who are developers, they should try to follow a technical data science path. Okay, within I told you data science is huge, right? So data science also contains the old concept of big data, which has been very hot in the last few years using Hadoop, Spark, Kafka, Hive. That has been there. But if I were you and I'm starting this now, unless you are already big time into big data, I would rather leapfrog directly to machine learning and deep learning. You see, India telecom market went the wireless way directly. Unlike in Western countries, we did not have a landline telephone market. India leapfrogged to a wireless market, right? Most of us use wireless phone. Nobody uses landline phones in India anymore, right? They were not even there in most houses. Same way, you can leapfrog directly to machine learning and deep learning. There is no prerequisite, no requirement to get into big data first. But if you are already in big data doing well there, you can stay there. There's no harm in that. That area is still very hot. Okay, so I am going to focus on the most latest and most glamorous area of data science or AI, which is referred to as machine learning and deep learning. Within machine learning and deep learning, then you can specialize in all kinds of specialized machine learning and deep learning applications, right? So this list is also quite big. It's a very vast area. Each of this is so vast, you can barely do one or two. I mean, it will take you a lifetime to just master one or two or three of these areas. They are so huge, right? So we have to pick our battles. So we'll have to pick which area we want to specialize in. Here, let me continue. So this is the CellStrat, AI ML program, which I like to tell you about. So You can find some of the details on some of our meetup page where you found this webinar, that we have now started offering certification, a PG certificate program in artificial intelligence with specialization in ML and DL, right? It's a 6 to 8 month program. Okay, it's a 6 to 8 month program. There are three courses in this. This is course number one, machine learning. Second course, deep learning. Third course, advanced neural networks. Okay, and we give a month break between each courses because each course is very intense. So you have to do a lot of hands-on exercises and projects, in between the two courses. So each of our courses is a programming course. You have to have some kind of programming expertise in any language. We'll teach you a bit of Python because that's what we use, and you should have, we will also refresh your mathematics skills from your high school days. Okay, so our second class is actually a maths refresher. It will refresh your basics of linear algebra, probability, and differential calculus. All right, very basic level. So that will be required as part of learning machine learning algorithms. Okay, so there are three courses spread out over 6 to 8 month period. This will give you a jump start in the area of machine learning as a technical data scientist. Okay, we do have a separate course called AI for managers, but I don't have details of it here. That is targeted towards managers for functional training in AI and data science. But this path is the primary courses are targeted to folks who have some kind of development expertise. Okay, and at the end of the 6 months, each course has its own certificate. We'll also issue a PG certificate for the entire program. So it, as far as how long it takes to learn machine learning and deep learning, I would give it 1 to 2 years. So while this is a 6 to 8 months, you will be, you will have to continue to practice with projects and continue to brush up your skills even after these courses, because it can take 5 to 10 years to train a world-class data scientist. 5 to 10 years. Okay, so these courses will give you jump start, but they will not make you a cheap data scientist in Google or Amazon. All right, for that you have to train yourself for 5 to 10 years. So I normally say minimum 1 to 2 years is required to become a mid-level data scientist. Okay, so these courses will train you for 6 to 8 months, and after that you have to practice for another year or so, lots of projects and hands-on exercises to continue to achieve your dream of becoming a mid-level data scientist. But mark you, a mid-level data scientist could command a salary ranging from 20 lakh, 15 lakh to 1 crore. Okay, so even a mid-level data scientist could get a salary of 50 lakh, 60 lakh, 70 lakh. The point is how much expertise you have. Can you qualify in those interviews? All right. And we create AI superstars. So our courses are very intense. I teach them personally, and our objective is to create stars who can qualify in interviews, not merely issue your certificate. All right. Because these companies will do due diligence and they will ask a lot of skills, a lot of questions. If you don't have the answers, you won't qualify in the interview. Right. Let me just finish this and come to questions. So the first course, in fact, we are starting a batch of machine learning this weekend. So this Saturday, which is 8th of September, I am starting a weekend batch. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., I'll be teaching the machine learning class. So this is the curriculum for that course, which is starting this Saturday, 8th. The price is 15,000 rupees. Okay, 15,000 rupees, about $210 if you will, US dollars. And this the batch will start this Saturday, so you have to sign up immediately. And it's a 5 week program, so I'll be teaching over 5 weekends, every Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So it's a 30-hour instructor-led course. You'll have to spend another 30 hours doing all the programming assignments and exercises. All right. It will take about 60 to 70 hours of your time over next 5 weeks if you choose to do this course. If you are busy in your company or in your studies and you don't can't spare 60 to 70 hours over next 5 weeks, I do not recommend you start this course because you won't derive maximum benefit from it. So this is a curriculum for the course that we teach. We teach start with intro. We do a maths refresher class. We can optionally refresh your Python skills if you are coming from Java or something else, and then we go to different algorithms of machine learning. Okay, it's a quite intense course, and you have to prepare to dedicate your 60 to 70 hours over the next 5 weeks if you want to maximize the benefit from this course. All right, let me just continue here. So we have a lot of resources which go with this course. So we show a lot of programming demos. Lots of hands-on exercises in Python which you'll have to do. There are quizzes and assessment to check your knowledge. There is a capstone project at the end of the course you'll have to do. And me and my senior data scientist colleagues are teaching this course. And you can join our community where we have a lot of industry experts in this area. Okay. So that was the end of it. I know there was a lot of content for 1 hour. Let me try to address the remaining questions now. By the way, that course details you can find on our meetup page, and there is a link to register for this course starting on Saturday. So, okay, so you can find that on our meetup page. Quite a few questions have come. Let me just address them one by one for. Uh, I am a first year BTech student. How can I get internships in the field of AI and ML? So that, see, the thing is, I know getting internships for students is fairly hard, and for that you'll have to just find your contacts. So you can contact me offline. I'll have to check your profile. So we may hire for summer internship or something, but we don't pay any stipend, if you will. But sometimes we can take summer interns. But they have to be in Bangalore full time on their own cost, so it's quite an expensive proposition. Okay, so otherwise you can, because we are a small startup, we can't hire too many interns. So you can check with other companies if they're hiring interns. In the industry, what is the, by the way, you still have to do courses, right? If you are doing some BTech in some area, but you're not learning machine learning, then you can't be effective. You need to be doing courses. There are online courses, like companies like us are offering online courses, right? In the industry, what is the typical maturity path in terms of AI ML adoption? So I think that we already discussed. It's still coming up, and it takes time because most of the folks, most of the chief executives and managers are still learning the area. That's why there is a lot of training going on in different companies. So, and then the use cases will probably come up in some time. How to choose the best AI technology as career? So the best AI technology is Python and TensorFlow, all right? So without any doubt. So TensorFlow library, which was originally produced from Google, now in open source domain, has become the dominant deep learning library, and Python is the most popular language for machine learning. Okay, so that's the best platform to use. What's role functional data scientists will play in ERP industry? See, basically, a lot of the things will be using AI. So you may not be a developer, but you could still be an AI specialist, an AI solution consultant, right? So if you apply to, let's say, SAP or Amazon or Google, not in the programming groups, but in other groups. So if you have AI solution expertise, they'll still value it, right? So what is TPU? We already discussed. What are common algorithms? So, classification, regression, decision trees, support vector machines, polynomial regression, right? And clustering, K means KNN. There are lots of algos here. I don't have time to go through them right now. You look at some of our other webinars, we have webinars, a lot of algorithms. What laptop configuration required for running MLDL? So I do recommend you have a i5 or i7 processor or an equivalent AMD processor on your laptop. Okay. So if you have, let's say, i3 or less, then it may not run because it requires intensive computation power. So I recommend an i5 or i7 from Intel processor and at least 8 MB RAM. Okay, 8 MB RAM at least, if not more. And if you are going to buy a new laptop, you may as well buy the latest i7 laptop with a 16 GB RAM, right? 16 GB RAM, yes. So, is this Indian demand or worldwide supply demand? So there is a lot of demand for data scientists. So the chart I showed you was a global chart, but the same companies which operate in US, in China, in Japan are also in India, right? It's the same Amazon, same Google, right? So all these companies are looking for data scientists, and then lot many more. 50 lakh to 1 crore for how many years of experience? Well, as I said, if you have 5 to 10 years of hardcore expertise in machine learning, 5 to 10 years, okay, then you can easily aspire to get a 1 crore package in a city like Bangalore. Okay, but when I say 5 to 10 years of expertise word is very crucial. Okay, if you just do some course, see, I told you my course of 5 weeks in machine learning will not make you an expert. We'll just give you a jump start so that over the next 6 to 8 months, over next 1 year, you can train yourself to become an intermediate level data scientist. So I'm being brutally honest here. And course, some courses may not do anything for you. A lot of folks who are Coursera certified are coming to our class now. I would not recommend self-learning Coursera courses. It doesn't work. This is a very hard area. Some instructor has to teach you. Either some instructor has to teach you in a class or they have to teach you online. Do not even opt for self-learning courses like Coursera, Udemy, Udacity. All those guys come back to our classroom format where an instructor is teaching it because they don't even understand basics, let alone expertise. This area cannot be learnt on your own. You need an instructor to guide you, and an expert instructor. There are a lot of fake instructors operating in market, unfortunately. Okay, so please answer my question about interns has to gain knowledge and exposure. See, the thing is, first you have to train yourself. Nobody even will hire you as an intern while you are an engineering student if you cannot demonstrate expertise, for which you have to train yourself. Once you train yourself through using some of these courses and programs and books, then once you're ready, because even for internship, they will interview you, right? Even for a 2 3 month internship in summer vacation, they will interview you. So you have to first train yourself before you can even apply to machine learning internship. Once you are expert in that, I'm sure one or the other company will hire you as intern because a lot of them would be looking for that skill set, right? But just saying give hire me intern and then train me, nobody will do it. You have to train yourself first, okay? And you have to use some of these courses as a mechanism to do that. Can you offer self-passing? I don't understand the question. Kindly very self-pacing. So yes, so we'll be making a course available where it will be self-paced course. So the video we are recording videos of our course. So our course will also have a option where you can buy our course, right, and do it at your speed. You don't have to attend live classes. So we'll give you access to all the pre-recorded videos, and we'll also give you access to all the assignments. I'll still be checking your assignment, by the way. While it is self-paced, you are seeing our videos offline at your pace, but I'll still be checking your assignment. So that part will remain same. So the only difference from a live instructor led would be you are checking the video, but you are I will still be requiring your assignments. I'll be checking them. It's a graded course. So I grade each of my students and will issue a certificate, and I'll be telling your grade at the end of the course. So it's a quite a demanding course. It's not easy. Okay, so I am quite a demanding teacher, and I want person to become an expert if they come in my class. I don't let them go so easily. Okay, so don't do the course if you don't have time. Don't join the course and then say I got busy in something else. It doesn't work for me. All right, you have to give 60 to 70 hours in that duration. Is there a similar program for many years functional track? So we are planning to launch an AI for many years program. We are working on that content creation activity right now. So, but you'll find some of the details. We have a meetup page for that also. You'll find the details and the curriculum there. But we are evolving that curriculum. We want to launch an AI for many years course sometime by end of this year. Okay, because I understand there is massive demand from cross-functional managers around AI and data science. In fact, I am doing a lot of corporate seminars for managers around AI and data science where we do functional teaching, not programming teaching. Okay, I'm genuinely interested to sign up. Is there a way to get a trial period of a week or so? By the way, we have a fantastic YouTube channel. Okay, you can check our YouTube channel, and let me just show it to you right away. And you can see our past webinars where I'm teaching a lot of these algos online. So you want to see a sample, you want to see sample of our teaching, you can check our YouTube channel. There are almost 30 to 40 webinars which represent the kind of teaching we do. So I'm just showing you the link to the YouTube channel. Okay. So you will find it on our every meetup page which we have, and you can go to our YouTube channel and you can find a lot of, for example, this is a webinar I did on machine learning regression technique. I demonstrated a program also. To see sample teaching, you can check our YouTube channel. This me and my colleagues have recorded so many fantastic videos. A lot of the preliminary information you can get from here. These are free videos. The course you join, if you want to do hands-on practice and you want certification, you want me to teach you and guide you personally, right? Because YouTube channel is a self-learning model and it doesn't have any hands-on exercises or anything for you. If you want to really practice machine learning, you want instructor-led coaching, you have to take our course, right? But you can see some sample videos on this and you get an idea of our quality of our teaching. All right, let me look at some other questions. Lots of good questions. I do appreciate that. How will we use Spark in ML? By the way, Apache ML is there. Spark ML is there. So if you are from the Apache stack, Apache also has a machine learning library. I don't use that, but I know there is a fairly robust machine learning library using Apache Spark as well. Okay, that you'll have to check in Apache website. Apache website. I don't use that tool. I am a Python and TensorFlow guy. I do suggest that you switch to Python and TensorFlow, because what will happen, most of the projects will be done in Python TensorFlow. So it is highly recommended that you use this as your preferred platform, even though you can use some of these other platforms for machine learning. But I do recommend you switch to Python TensorFlow, because most of the jobs opportunities will come in that area. Is it only online or we have to come to a lab? Our course is, by the way, online. Okay, so I teach it online. Let me show you. I can show you the web page for that. Right, this is the web page. The link is available from our meetup page. If you go to our meetup page, right, and you click on the certification, so this is our meetup page for my next webinar this Wednesday, which you can sign up for. There is a link here, certification programs in machine learning. If you go there, it will bring you to our landing page for our machine learning course. As you can see, the price is rupees 15,000. Okay, so you can sign up here before the Saturday if you want to block your seat. Okay. Uh, If guys from other technologies want to switch to ML, what is the career path? Well, it is a very promising career. So if you have some kind of development background, it will be quite easy for you to get into machine learning, because then you will be able to pick up Python. It's just like Java, or is much easier than C++. So if you have done programming in some other area, even PHP, HTML, or other programming languages, SQL, PL, SQL, you can get into machine learning. And as I said, it's a 1 to 2 year process to groom and train yourself in that. Don't think by doing a 1 month course you'll suddenly get an ML job. Okay, it will take you continuous training. There are 3 courses which we have, which will take 6 to 8 months to complete, and after that also you have to keep practicing for another 6 months to 1 year to really become intermediate level expert in that. Your views on Google Code Labs TensorFlow for Poets. So I'm not familiar with that. If you are seeing some practicing environment on Google Code Labs, go for it. More practice, the better it is, right? But as I told you, a lot of this has to be instructor taught. You cannot learn this technology in self-learning mode. It doesn't work. All the Coursera guys, Udacity guys, they come back to us and they join our classes. Okay, so that's just a fact, because self-learning mode, it's very hard to learn some of these areas. They are very mathematical, quite intricate. Some expert instructor has to teach you. If you want rapid learning, you can learn on your own. It will take you 3 times or 4 times the time. With instructor led, if it will take you 6 to 8 months, it will take you 2 to 3 years to get same level knowledge in self-learning mode. Okay, so if you have 2 to 3 years, go for self-learning. Sure. I'm interested in this course, but current course which I am doing is going to end this week. So is it possible to repeat 8 or 9 session? See, we record our videos which I teach in the class. So if you were to miss a class, you can easily access the recording. And the first 1 or 2 chapters anyway, 8th and 9th, are not so difficult, right? They are introductory beginning chapters. So just by seeing the recording, and I'll be with you, right? So you can talk to me and contact me anytime on WhatsApp or call me. So I'll help you catch up on any missed classes. I'll provide the recorded video to you. So if you missed a class, you can always see the recorded video, and then you can ask me questions about it if you have any. Okay. Uh, I am in first year engineering student, and I am determined to join your courses with full dedication. Is it very early for it, or should I wait for some time? Well, see, this is a first year engineering student. Good question. Well, it's not early, because I told you, to become a world-class data scientist, a chief data scientist, you need 5 to 10 years, right? If you are in first year engineering, the sooner you start, the better it is, right? If you start in first year of engineering and you continue to practice over next 4 years, by the time you graduate from engineering, you would already be a leading data scientist, right? You would already be a leading data scientist at the end of your BTech degree, because you would have been doing it for 4 years, and you will beat experienced people in it, because experienced people would be just starting around that time, right? You have been doing it over 4 years, right? So it's never too early to start this. I have got requests from high schoolers who want to get into machine learning. Okay, so there were some parents who called me who said, I have a kid who is in 11th grade, senior school. Can they join your machine learning course? I said, yes, they can, because I have experience doing this. I taught 5 high schoolers Python and basic regression, and they were able to pick it up. I was amazed. I thought high school kids will find it challenging, but their minds is like, a very absorbing kind of mind. They can easily absorb this knowledge and pick it up. And some of them had done Java or some other kind of programs before, right? So they had some programming background. The frequency of tests and projects. See, our course will have, so I'm showing you the curriculum. I'm showing you the curriculum for this course which we are running. So it's shown right here. So this is the table of content or curriculum, right? So there are 10 classes, and in each class I demo a pretty nice program with a kind of data set or around a real life problem. And then we'll give you programming assignment in each class. Okay. So after each class, you'll have to submit your programming assignment. You have to finish your programming assignment and submit it to me, which I'll check and give you your feedback whether your programming assignment was correct or not. So almost out of 10 classes, in 8 of the classes, you will be given a programming assignment, which you'll have to submit back to me for my review. Okay. And I grade people. So it's a graded course. So I'll tell you your grade at the end of the course. So it's an intense course. It requires good 60 to 70 hours of your next 5 weeks. But yes, we are going to launch a product where you can also do it in self-paced mode. Okay. So by next week, I think we'll have that product ready. If you buy that product, you can just simply send you all the videos and assignments, and you'll have to keep submitting assignment the same way, but you can do it at your pace. You don't have to sit through a live class. You can do it at your pace, submit me the assignment, and we can get it done. So instead of 5 weeks, let's say you can do it over a 3 month period. All right. So I'll share the recorded videos with you of my instruction and also all the assignments. Let me see what else are there. We are over time, but there are so many good questions which I really appreciate. Where did you begin learning this technology? Okay, what is my background? So you can check my profile on LinkedIn if you are curious about who I am. So let me just go to LinkedIn and show you who I am. Uh, I'm a senior data scientist. I run my own startup. All right. Let me just go to the homepage. So you can see my profile. I have more than 20 years experience. I was a chief architect in AT&T United States for a long time, and I was a lead consultant for IBM in Bangalore in 2012 and 13. And last 4 years, I'm doing a bunch of startups. All right. So you can find my profile by name of Vivek Singhal CellStrat on LinkedIn. You can check my profile. I have a good amount of thought leadership on LinkedIn. So a lot of people follow me on LinkedIn. So you can check my profile and who I am and about my startup on. Okay. So this shows you my profile. How I got into machine learning, deep learning. See, I have been running a couple of startups over the last few years, and I found that I was running a health tech startup before my current AI startup. We were doing healthcare tests, pathology tests for patients all over India using an online portal, and we were booking tests, and we were getting these lab reports, right? So I realized the potential of machine learning, that how I can revolutionize healthcare with machine learning, because I was doing healthcare data, right, using lab reports. That's where I got my AI start in the last 4 5 years. Since then, I have been learning AI, and now I became a decent expert. Now I take classes and teach others. All right. So that's how I got my start in AI, because once I was in healthcare, I realized the monumental applications of machine learning, if you will. Okay. And I said this is much more disruptive than just selling pathology tests online. That's why I got into AI full time. So will you take projects too? I mean, sorry, I didn't understand that question. So yes, as part of our course, we'll be we'll be giving you projects to do. So a lot of there are lots of mini projects, and finally there's a big capstone project which you'll have to do. So you'll have plenty of hands-on exercises. So in 5 weeks, I'll make you a good ML expert. Okay. So offload actual project. See, we are also an AI consulting company, right? So if we find some of our students who have gone through all of our program completely and show decent expertise, we may want to hire them also, right? So we are also hiring data scientists, but we only hire once they demonstrate their expertise. Okay. We do have a WhatsApp group. If you contact me, I'll add you to my WhatsApp group. All right. We do have a very active WhatsApp group. We have almost 200 members in our WhatsApp group. So I'll add you to our WhatsApp group if you send me your contact. You can contact me by email or my phone. All those details are available on the meetup page. Okay. So I'm getting a question here that I have to add this number of. Kindly send me a WhatsApp, or email. So I may not remember the phone number which is shown here. Kindly send me a WhatsApp or email. You'll find our contact email address on our meetup page. We can add you to our meetup page. If we wish to give you a project to execute, will you execute it? Absolutely. So we are consultants, right? So if you have business for us, very much appreciated. We'll take it gladly. Absolutely. So if you are a part of a company who wants to, outsource AI projects, we are happy to do it. We do it for others as well, right? I mean, we are a business after all. We are a bit expensive, yes. You see, so we are very senior data scientists. Somebody is asking me if you are expensive. Yes, we are expensive. So if you are looking for very low rates, as you find classic development activity, I don't think we are good fit. We operate at higher rates because there are very few senior data scientists in the world, let alone India. And me and my team, we are very senior data scientists. So given upon lucrative careers, we are entrepreneurs. So our rates are on the higher side. Yes, we are not very cheap, unfortunately. Okay. So one of the reasons I have started training is because there is severe dearth of good talent in this area. So not only training is a business for us, but even more than that, we want to groom talent whom which can provide to industry and as well as engage some of those folks for our own business, right? So because we can't find people in this area, nobody can find. So one of the core things everybody has to do is try to train resources. That is also one of the major reasons why we launched our own courses, because I found other institutes are doing a very, very poor job of training machine learning students. So unfortunately, I don't want to criticize my competition, but the industry is very bad and they are doing a very poor job of ML training. That is one of the reasons we launched our own courses. Okay. Triple IT is good. So somebody is asking about triple IT, but if you do, name triple IT. Don't go to some of these private institutes who say we are triple IT partner. It doesn't work. You have to join the 2-year master's program in triple IT. So indeed, our courses is the second best way of becoming machine learning data scientist. The best way, the best way to learn machine learning and deep learning is enroll in a PhD or MSc program from a top university like Indian Institute of Technology, triple IT, or let's say if you go to US, then Stanford, MIT. So going to a Ivy League university in India, Asia, or Europe, or US, and joining their PhD in machine learning program or a Master of Science in machine learning program is the best way to get best expertise. The second best way is to do courses from company like us. I cannot beat a triple IT 2-year MSc degree or a IIT MS degree in machine learning. I mean, definitely, if if I were you and I have time and bandwidth in my life, I would go for a PhD in machine learning from Indian Institute of Science, Indian Institute of Technology, or triple IT, or join some Ivy League program abroad. Okay, that is the best way to train yourself. The second best way is do courses from my company. Okay, if you will. What about upgrade? What about upgrade UPX and INSEAD? In Sophie, I believe. So as I said, I have low view of other learning companies, but they are my competition, so I don't want to deride them. By the way, I made the courses for some of these companies. So so I made the courses for Simply Run and Manipal ProLearn. I am their AI advisor. I made their courses, but I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to comment on it. They are my customers. So I did make the machine learning and deep learning course for Simply Learn and also Manipal ProLearn. I am their primary AI advisor, but I leave it at that. Okay. I would recommend you do our courses. All right. And is machine learning PG certification from CellStrat recognized globally? Well, it is not recognized in the sense in IIT degrees or IISc degrees or triple IIT degrees or Stanford degrees. So our degree is as good as one of the other private players in India, right? So see, certificate is not something. Let's say you were to take a certificate from these learning companies, right? You go to an Amazon.com machine learning interview. The, they will they will not hire you simply because you have that certificate, either CellStrat certificate or one of these other companies. They will hire you if you can pass all their interviews. We prepare students for interviews. Certificate doesn't mean anything unless it's an IIT certificate, IIM certificate, or triple IT or Stanford certificate, right? Those certificates matter, not a private institute certificate. What matters is, can you qualify an interview? Amazon will not hire you simply because you carry some private institute certificate. They will grill you like anything. They will ask you all kinds of basic machine learning questions. If your basics are not clear, you will not qualify whichever certificate you hold. Your only hope is if you have an IIT or IIM certificate. That could give you a leg up because Amazon might think, oh, you are an IIT graduate, right? So that could help you a little bit, but they will still want you to answer all the ML questions. So I don't think you should focus on certificate name per se, unless it's from IIT, Triple IT, ISC, or Ivy League, right? Other certificates don't matter much, uh, you know. And all right, where can I get WhatsApp number, please? Well, I'll send you my number right now. My number is 97428000566. So there you go. That's my number for all of you. So 97428000566. Send me a WhatsApp. I'll help you. I'll guide you. I'm happy to mentor you. Okay. A typical predictive model for manufacturing setup would work out to be how much? Well, that's a big question. I mean, this is a consulting bid, right? So we'll have to understand the problem statement and do lots of diligence before we can give a price quote on a project. I cannot answer that question on this webinar here. Kindly contact me offline. I'll be happy to discuss consulting engagement. We are always looking for those, right? So you have my number 97428000566. I'm very active on WhatsApp. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. Our email is on our meetup page. Okay. So kindly contact us if you have any questions. Any final questions? It's already half an hour over. I'm amazed by the level of interest and passion. So it's my pleasure to do this. Thanks for your time. And for any further questions, kindly contact me offline. Thank you. Good night in India and good day for the rest of the world. Thank you.